Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about a currency pair that one of my clients traded that I helped him analyze on a higher time frame. And so he is a person who learned from me in my one-on-one sessions where I literally taught him how to become a better trader in 6 hours. We just break up the time within 6 weeks, so 1 hour a week. But after the 6 hours, he's now able to construct his own analysis. And what I do is I just basically give my eyes to what my clients trade after we're done with our one-on-one sessions, just for a little bit more clarity and confirmation there. Now, with this particular currency pair, you guys are going to hear me mention amongst the other clients and students that I was teaching about the way this currency pair likes to move. I don't think all currency pairs move the same. And this particular currency pair, you really have to be careful with, because if you analyze it on, let's say, the daily time frame, it's not always going to play out in your favor at first. It'll stop you out before going your way more than anything. So I want you guys to listen to the quick analysis that I gave, listen to the quick instructions, how I'm going from the weekly time frame and talking about why the trade is better, and then we'll talk about how the trade played out after. If we can look at pound CAD, because that's what I showed him today, I want to show you guys how pound CAD kind of does the same thing. So like if you look here on the daily time frame, it had like a lower high, lower low, higher high situation, and then she continued down. But then if we look here, and she had like I mean, you probably would have bought from here, but that's that extra push. And then she had like this lower high situation again, lower low situation, lower low, potential lower high, and then it had like an extra push here. But actually, this is actually a true lower low right here, extra push, and then she pushed down again. But if you look on the weekly time frame, even though it's not as pretty, it kind of makes a little bit more sense to trade based on the weekly time frame. And one of the reasons why I'm talking about this pair, because my client, he did counter this, and he like, where do you think, price can go? And I say, yo, stick to your weekly, your weekly price could come back to your weekly zone. And if you believe it can, take profit there and get out your trade. Like, this is a higher risk trade, and we have to categorize it that way. But we also got to know the negatives. So I try to teach them the negatives as I teach you guys these negatives too. So this is where we are right now in the market. Okay, so as you guys can see, price did come back up to that weekly estimation zone that I plotted on the weekly time frame. But let's talk about what happened before price actually got there. So when I recorded the video, price was at this candlestick here, and there was a drop. And so if you isolated the time frames and maybe traded the daily time frame by itself, what this could have looked like was a lower low, lower high, lower low situation, and then a higher high. But one thing I ask my students to do before they count this as a reversal is to go up one time frame to remind themselves and see what price is doing. And that's why we went ahead and we analyzed this way before price made this daily time frame reversal. And so if I go back up to the weekly time frame, you guys can see that price is still in that downtrend. So that recent lower low that had been made on the daily time frame was actually a weekly lower low, and I still encouraged him to take the sell. And one of the reasons why I encourage him to take the sales is because your higher time frames will matter more than a lower time frame entry. I want you to start to think about, where do your entries come from? And more than likely, they're coming from the trend based on a higher time frame. And this is why it's important to not use too many time frames to construct your analysis. And as I like to teach, pair at least 2 time frames together, at most 3, but don't do too many more after that, because there's a range that he was trading, and he's trading this weekly time frame. Because here's the thing I want you guys to think about: from the recent lower high here down to the lower low, that's almost 700 pips. And from where he wanted to enter the trade to where price could have stopped him out was a potential 230 pip range. So imagine taking a trade on a lower time frame and potentially being down 50 pips, 25 pips, 100 pips, especially if you're a scalper or a day trader, because you don't understand where the range of the entry comes from, which is based on the higher time frame, the weekly, the daily. So when he entered the trade, prayerfully, if he took a really good entry, whether he set a pending order or a manual order, he probably entered, this was a Friday candlestick, so maybe not this candlestick, but maybe the next candlestick here, or maybe he's at a pending order to where he didn't even have to get be at the chart anyway to execute the position. Okay, so this is how this trade played out. It did come back down to the previous low and take him out of the position. And it's approximately probably over a 390 to a 400 pip winner, depending on how he got into this position and actually holding it, not getting out halfway, not being afraid to let the trade move, but actually holding the position. This is a part of being a swing trader, which I teach in my one-on-one sessions. So if this is something you believe you can do, then do it, right? Just hold the positions. Don't think about holding the position for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. Just only think about holding it until it hits your TP. But remember, the higher in time frame you go, the longer you may be holding that trade for, just as he did here. So this is probably over a 2-week hold, maybe 3-week hold, because this is the middle of June going into July. And this trade just hit profit July 6th. So yeah, pretty good trade, right? Okay, so y'all can see how the trade has played out so far after looking at the update that I've done now. And one of the reasons why having someone walk you through the time frames to trade and having someone who has a keen eye, sometimes you just need that extra push and the motivation to be patient, right? And I love teaching patience and not forcing the trade and really waiting for the trade to set up to really go in your favor. While this can work more times than not, it's just really important to start to, become so repetitive in what it is that you do. So when you see your setups, you just get in like clockwork, right? And so if you're a person who needs one-on-one sessions, or you want to learn how to become a better trader within 6 hours, an hour a week over the span of 6 weeks, then book a free consultation call with me. Let me hear your trading story and let's see if we're a good fit to work together. And if you also enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the video, click the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.